So what do you think about the Y honoring him every year with this award? Why do you think they picked Dad to do that?
He got along very well with children and adults, and like I said, a sense of humor was wonderful. He volunteered a lot for anything that needed to be done.
So what do you think would happen if I got the Vern Emery Award?
It'd be fine with me. I'd be proud of you, even if it is your dad.
Because guess
Even
what?
more so.
They gave it to me this year.
Oh my gosh, Martha, how neat. That's wonderful. Oh, I'm so pleased. Gosh, I think he'd be very honored to think that he know that she earned they didn't just give it to her because she was his daughter. They don't do that. It's something that you earn.
When I think about Martha, I think about that spirit, all these years later, to have her receive the Vern Emery Award. It just feels so fitting, so perfect, so poetic maybe even, that she is this year's recipient. And I just think about Martha being the keeper of the flame, the thing that drives the YMCA mission. It's not one point in time, it's not one person, it's not even one generation. It is this effect of people working together over long periods of time to shape our community and to lift kids up and support them into the great citizens, the great adults that they're going to be. And so I think of that connection from Vern to Martha and that transfer of the YMCA impact and mission.
I kind of feel kind of protective over my dad. I mean, I want to protect what was so important to him. That's important to me, and I love what the Y does for the community. I mean, it is so important to so many people in this community, all of the stuff they do. I'm just so proud of the Y. It's one of those organizations that you can always be proud you're part of.
I've learned a lot from Martha over the past 20 years, and I've worked with her in several different ways. She was on our Child Development Advisory Committee as a member, as well as chairing the committee, and now she is on our Camp Advisory Committee. But she would also be helping us in any projects that we had. She's painted our office. She was my admin for a short period of time when I had a vacancy. She has remodeled some of the camp trailers for staff. She's really done so much for us. I feel like anytime there was a need, Martha's there.
When I first accepted the job to come work here at Y Camp in Boise, I lived in Washington, and so Lincoln, my would-be supervisor, reached out to the advisory committee to ask if anyone had any leads on places that I could live, and it turned out that one of our committee members, Martha, was kind enough to let me live in her house.
Vern was always being nice to everybody, and we had a foreign exchange gentleman that worked for the Y in Russia. And he wanted to come to the United States. So he came to live with us. He never gotten over the fact that a stranger would take somebody in like that from a foreign country and let him live with them.
I really love that theme of Keeper of the Flame for Martha. And she's done that not just figuratively, but literally. And so when we're opening the new camp in 2010, we're going from a location where we provided camp to this brand new location. And we said, we've got to keep that flame alive. And so we transported the flame from one location to the other. And Martha had a key role in that, actually canoeing across the reservoir to bring the flame to camp.
That was probably the biggest honor I have ever had in my life. I was probably one of the few people that knew where the old campground was and where the campfire was. And so we went over there and started a fire, and that day it was probably 40 degrees and whitecaps on the lake. And we were the first of like 10 different treks that had to go. It went from there on a boat, on a bike, on a plane, and ended up down at Horse Thief. We did it so fast, we did it in 45 minutes. Our adrenaline was I just was so proud to do that for the Y.
She's been a great mentor, and she's taught me several things. She's taught me to work hard, to be courageous. She's also taught me that people are first, especially our people that are in need. There's so many times in meetings that she'll ask questions about, well, what about families on financial assistance? Or what about youth? do we have youth at the table helping us make these decisions?
I think, first of all, her integrity is impeccable. Her friendship, she will put her hand out to anybody and make eye contact and say who she is and welcome them with warm arms. She's extremely compassionate. Look at the number of years that this woman has worked on boards in this valley for low-income housing. It's mind-blowing. She also takes care of her mother, Barbara Emery, and for a daughter to take her to church, do all these things, that's pretty remarkable in this day and age. I think it's exemplary, shows a very strong character.
When I think about what her father developed in her in terms of the values and characteristics, and to see her take that through the Horse Thieves Camp and the early childhood education programs and want to foster those same characteristics in the children that she was interacting with and giving them that opportunity. And Martha has done an outstanding job, in my opinion, both professionally and in the community, of creating that same legacy for herself. So for her to be recognized and honored, that is just so cool.
Martha, you've made a really huge impact on my life. You made my move to Boise really smooth, enjoyable, and it was a place that felt like home from the start because of what you did, and I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you for being you. Thank you for welcoming me into your home and your arms, and congratulations on this award.
By living the Y way, by reaching out to the community, by living the values of her church, by being a devoted wife to Jerry and their big family, and by being a loyal friend to many, Martha has made Boise a better place to be. And I congratulate her on receiving this distinguished award, well deserved, and I know that her dad would be so proud of her.
When they pick the Vern Emery Award, they get together all of the previous winners. The Y brings forward 2 or 3 candidates and says, these are the ones that we're kind of looking at this year. What do you think? So this year, they put up one. I wasn't really looking at it, and all of a sudden I saw my picture up there, and I went, what? Wait a minute, that's wrong, that's not right. And they said, yeah, it's you. And I was just overwhelmed. I had tears streaming down my face. I couldn't believe it. I just was so proud. I mean, I can't think of anything a little girl would want more than to be, remembered to be just like her dad.